Okay, so this is just a little bit of a precursor before we get too into this, but two people I absolutely love and admire. Already, already messing up my speech. I'm gonna try to do better about cussing this time around. But we've got Ben Shapiro on the right and Michael Knowles on the left. Both fantastic people. They are some of the smartest people I've ever heard in my life. So I'm going to be reacting to whatever it is that they're talking about, yes or no stuff, and let's do it. Also, before we get too far into it, it is 40 minutes long, so we're going to have to break this up into segments. Part 1.
Currently, half the country has no accountability or ability to reason. And it's just a coincidence half of the people are women. This is such a trap right here. Okay.
One can
okay, all right, here we go.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, I'm interested. What are they going to say? Oh, they're going to play the drinks first. Come on, what are they going to say? I'm going to take a guess at this. I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to go with Ben saying no. Or yes. I'm gonna saying yeah. I'm going to go with Ben saying yes, it is a coincidence. And I'm going to go with Michael saying no, it's not a coincidence. I'm just throwing it out there. Me, myself, on the other hand, maybe I'll answer it another time. Let's keep going.
Welcome back to another exciting episode, perhaps the most exciting episode of Yes or No. Before I introduce my guest, would you like to be my guest? You can be. You can be the host. You can be the guest. You can have.
No, thank you.
First question.
Okay, so now that we're back in.
When we first met, I just knew that we would spend the majority of our adult working lives together.
Ooh.
So you have to answer how you think I would answer.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
And then
are we supposed to do this simultaneously or?
Yes. Yeah.
So
1.
I watch them all the time, and maybe I have no idea the character they are, but I just have this really deep feeling that maybe Michael looks up to him to a certain extent that Ben may not. So let's see how this plays out.
2, 3. Of course.
yeah, I mean, I figured that's how you would answer that, but I think that's because you're a very optimistic and personality mirroring fellow, and so literally every person that you meet, you think that's the case. It's like
there's my best friend now.
100%. Like we'll be at an event, and be 10,000 people, be like, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with this guy. I think that's actually fairly accurate.
Did I get it right?
You did.
I did. Because you said this is a world with a good and loving God governing everything, and therefore I get to spend my working life with Michael.
Yeah, no, I would have assumed it just because Jeremy is the one, I believe, who introduced us, and it was at Clavin's house, and I was like, God, the chances that I'm not working with this guy, yeah, exactly. Like, it's over.
Well, now, we're only supposed to drink if we get it wrong.
Oh, okay.
But we can also drink if we get it right.
Okay, well, I like that rule.
So they're both right. All right, cool.
It's good stuff.
It's a nice martini. Okay, you're up.
Okay, here we go.
Probably should have set a timer for 10 minutes,
Okay.
but we'll do as much as we
I'm supposed to answer this how I think you will answer this?
Yes.
Michael's wife is a doctor.
Oh.
Well, and obviously you would say yes because you know the etymology of the word doctor.
Such an asshole.
Means a teacher.
Yeah, no.
Wait,
Your wife's not a, no.
Huh?
No.
What do you...
Can she diagnose me with anything other than like a missing literature degree or something? Like what? No.
No, I don't.
Like
but
when you've got a doctor.
wait, hold on. Are you conflating? Are you saying that?
Am I also a doctor, Michael?
But
you
you're
are.
not
Oh,
a
yes, you are.
I'm a juris doctor.
You are a juris doctor. And you're a teacher too.
See, that's the funny part is I like to make fun of Jill because they call her Dr. Jill, but we all know she's not a doctor. We know she's the furthest thing from a doctor, but I get where they're coming from. I get it because technically you are a doctor. You're technically a doctor, so.
Millions of people on your show. You're a doctor, much more like Dr. Fauci. That guy's not a doctor. Dr. Fauci.
But Dr. Jill is totally a doctor.
Dr. Jill.
The greatest of all doctors.
She's the greatest surgeon.
That's true. She's an amazing doctor.
She is.
And the president.
And she probably is the president.
That's true.
Actually. Yep. Okay. Well, I may have gotten that wrong.
Okay.
But either way, I'll drink. Okay, I'm up. Marijuana was the gateway drug to the fall of the West.
Mike's
I
gonna
have a
say
kind of
yes,
edgy answer here,
100%.
but I'm not going to
So
say
I have to what Michael would say about this.
Yeah.
Hard part is gonna be what Ben said.
1, 2,
Never
3.
really heard him talk about it.
Yeah, no, I think that if I'm gonna,
Yes and yes, huh?
I'll bet Michael goes with LSD.
That's,
Like really, like the Timothy Leary, like LSD.
I was thinking more
Radical.
Albigensianism was the gateway drug. to
Oh,
the fall of
you're
the
really going
West.
obscure here. Okay, fine. So not like the actual drug.
Maybe.
Fine. Okay, but yeah, no, I don't think that marijuana was the gateway drug to the fall of Western. I think it was more symptomatic than causative.
But if we're speaking only about drugs,
If you're speaking only about drugs, then I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
And you're right about acid. That is LSD. Those were the only drugs I was really interested in trying. I
Interesting.
never tried them. Never tried anything harsher than the Peruvian parsley. But those interested me because they said, you see all these things and dimensions. And I realized, yeah, you probably see demons.
Well, you know, it's sort of marijuana was a drug that sort of was from the ground up in terms of usage. And LSD was more like the intellectual elites are using LSD, and therefore all drug use is okay. And the Beatles are using LSD,
Yeah.
and that means it's really cool. So I think that I'd say I'd go with LSD.
LSD,
I had to bet.
yeah. I really liked McCartney had this great reaction to LSD, which is, I guess, John wanted him to do it. And then McCartney, because he said, John said, you know, it changes your brain. You're never the same. And McCartney said, well, you know, I kind of like my brain. I don't know if I want to change my brain.
I'm stupid. I think it's well established. I don't know if LSD and acid are two different things or the same, but if they're the same, I've definitely had acid at least one time, just once. It was high school. I was graduating. It was a senior time. You know, I thought Mickey Mouse was the devil. Freakiest shit I've ever done. Never doing it again. Do not recommend doing it again. That was before I found Jesus. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
And I had that thought too as a kid. I was like, I don't know. I'm not some Adonis, right? I'm not going to be like lifting big rocks in my life. So if my brain gets broken, I'm just completely screwed.
Although I do remember that time when you were eating nothing but meat in the LA office in a desperate attempt to bulk up for a movie we never made. I do remember that. So while you weren't an Adonis, I do remember you. And all that happened to you is you got slightly fatter. You didn't actually get.
I got more than slightly fat.
Right, you did not get more muscular.
No,
You just looked fat.
So I gained 20 pounds.
And none of it was muscle. I looked at you and I was like, aren't you supposed to be like,
So I followed a regimen for this movie that we never made. I followed a regimen.
like a
I worked out
Ziploc
every
bag
day.
of meat. You bring it in every day.
And a pizza. I would eat an extra large pizza almost every day. And so I'm sitting there eating. I did cut my body fat. I actually did. My body fat went down. But I became like a big fat guy. And then, I made one mistake, which is, you know, you're supposed to bulk. I was working
And then you're
out
supposed to
every
cut,
day.
right?
Well, see, that's the trick. And I never quite made it to that. But I'm glad I at least fundamentally changed my body chemistry for a minute.
You know, sometimes, like, I'm not even close to the fittest person in the world. Not even close. Not even in the top 10 million. But if I worked at the Daily Wire, I guarantee everyone there would be fit as hell. That's all I'm going to say. We'd all be on diet plans. I'll be eating Brussels sprouts. Everybody. Greens, collard greens, banana greens, Brussels sprouts. That's all we eat.
Maybe that never happened?
Yeah, no, that was good. All right.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I'll drink to that memory.
Currently, half the country has no accountability or ability to reason. And it's just a coincidence half of the people are women.
Oh, yeah. This is the beginning of it.
The wisdom of Jack Nicholson.
This is such a trap right here. It's a trap mainly because I have to answer for you, right?
You have to answer for me.
Yeah.
I have to answer for you.
Yeah.
Currently
Mine's
have
gonna
countries
say no. Michael's
accountability
gonna say
or
yes. I have a feeling.
ability to
I think it's
reason.
friggin'
just a
hilarious,
and it's just a coincidence that.
Since we're deep into it, I've got a wife. I love my wife. I think she's smart. I think she's fantastic. I think she's beautiful. But when it comes to politics, when it comes to anything of this sort, she does not give a flying hoot about any of it. She would much rather take my word for it all and let me vote. Let her vote with the knowledge I have. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Half of them are women.
It's kind of weird. I assume it's being sarcastic, so. Okay.
One can
Here we
read
go.
the
Okay,
question.
all right. Here we go.
1, 2, 3.
That's right. I think Knowles is more of a sexist than he thinks I am. This is basically how this comes down.
Oh, I was just going to say no because it's not a coincidence.
Right. Okay, so yeah, exactly.
All right. The acceptance.
By the way, in that card, at the very least, you have to distinguish married women from single women.
Yeah. Well, you mean in the sense that when a man and a woman come together, they unite as one flesh, and so therefore one does not distinguish between qualities that would be attributed to the man.
My God.
I don't know. I'm just asking for clarification.
All I'm saying is that married women vote.
Yes.
In more family-oriented and conservative ways than single women, but you went directly to.
Well, this is
husband is the master of his household and the owner of his wife. So I didn't really expect you to go that way, but
there's been this debate.
Wow, sounded really Andrew Tate of you, Mr. Knowles. Little Andrew-esque, huh? Oh no. Listen. My wife completely understands. She raises the kids. She gets to control the house. She gets to do what she wants in the house. But as the man of the house who brings the money in, as the head of the household, as the patriarch of our household, I have final say. But what's the great saying, right? The old fantastic saying is that, men may be the head of the household, but the wife is the neck. And the neck can turn the head whichever way they want. So.
That's cropped up in some recent years, which is, should we repeal the 19th Amendment or not? And
who's having this debate except for you?
It's mostly Ann Coulter. It's mainly Ann. But I brought it up to Elisa, and I said, the argument that Ann is making is if we repeal the 19th Amendment, she would lose her right to vote, but the country overall would vote in a better way.
Right.
Statistically, because the women vote for Dems. And but then there are these other proposals. Well, what if we go back to a time when it's only families are voting? Only one family. But then I thought, well, that totally screws us over because then all the single people outnumber us, and then they're going to win all the elections. But what if it's quite the opposite? What if it's only single women lose the right to vote, and married women get?
Why don't we just move on to the next question here, because this is it's just a trap, dude. It's just a trap.
Oh, yeah. Knowles, I love you, man. You're a fantastic dude. Fantastic. But as a conservative, I don't know what realm conservative you're in. You're a little bit further out there than a lot of people. But as long as you're not a felon, and as long as you are a U.S. citizen, you're currently legally allowed to vote. So, to go against that, to me, is a little extreme. To me. But I got no hard feelings, man. That's your view. That's your view. And everyone in this world deserves a view. Everyone in this beautiful, God-loving, God-fearing country deserves a view.
Okay.
The acceptance of sex robots and dolls is a necessary step toward limiting sex work and criminal pedophilic behavior. It's actually a kind of serious question.
before they answer that, I'm going to say hard no. And this is going to be the last question based off the time. I'll let them answer after I do, but I'm going to say hard no. Personally, I'm a firm believer in if you allow that stuff to happen, right? You give an inch, they take a mile. So if you start to normalize that, even if it's with just a doll, even if it's with something fake, you give an inch, they'll take a mile. So it's gonna grow. You're gonna see a huge wave of just perversion that comes in after something like this happens. Because eventually it's gonna numb them. They're not gonna want doll anymore. The doll won't give them satisfaction, right? It's the same thing as a porn addiction. Eventually it gets more and more extreme because the things that used to get you off before no longer get you off. So to say that that's going to help prevent anything is just utterly false. It is complete nonsense. And I think Knowles should be with me on this one.
But I think necessary step. That is kind of a. You made me think about it too long.
Yeah,
like if I just started to think about it, I've been like naturally there. But
Let's see what they say.
okay, here we go.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
I think you're going to make the affirmative case that in fact it is necessary.
No, I say no.
You say no.
The reason I say no, even though, the sex bots like Austin Powers, they seem kind of titillating and everything. The reason I say no is because the argument presumes that human beings are like steam engines, and we just have to blow off steam, right? But that's not actually how vice and virtue work.
Yeah.
Right? Vice and virtue work where
Yes.
you do more vice and then you want to do more, like you do drugs, you want to do more
Yes.
drugs, you do more virtue, and hopefully it's slightly easier. So if you give a bunch of weird sex people all these dolls to do whatever they want with, I don't think it's going to make them better. I think it's going to make them just go further into their depravity.
Okay, so watch as I make the counter argument. So the counter argument is that the amount of sexually aggressive behavior by single men has gone down over the course of time to a certain extent because they are locked up in their rooms with their computers.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that you can make that argument. Now, does that mean it's moral or good? No. I think all of it is bad, and I think the solution to all of it is virtue and marriage.
Locked away in the room with their computer. They're not making, their mind is being stimulated, their penis is being stimulated, but they're not making the actual physical contact and the physical stimulation of doing said thing to a physical, whether it be metal or not, body. A physical body.
But
St. Thomas and I guess St. Augustine make a similar argument about prostitution, where they say, it's sometimes misinterpreted that they're saying we should have legalized prostitution, which is not what they're saying. But the argument against outlawing prostitution is that if you don't have some outlet for these lustful men, then society will just be convulsed by lust.
By the way, I think that this is the direction that society will move almost inevitably anyway. Because I think that we're like 5 seconds away from the left basically deciding that pedophilia is a form of sexual identity.
You mean minor attraction?
Minor attraction, yeah. I think the left's going to go for that in a matter of about 27 seconds ago.
Yeah, that Matt bullshit has to go. I swear to God, that Matt bullshit has to go. I have 2 daughters, and I swear to God, I swear on everything in my life, everything I believe in, all of it. I don't even want to finish what I'm going to say. It's gonna get me banned. Don't even want to finish it.
I think they're already there. So,
Man. Yeah, that's true.
That's dark. That's dark.
That's a dark
drink.
That's worth drinking.
That's bad.
All right.
All
That's
right.
it for this half. Good job, boys.
I wish